When we have her on our roster, even if it's not her commercial per se, let's at least throw her some credit and toss her a bone, shall we? Nike chooses not to even do that.
In today's fast-paced sports world, marketing is as crucial as the game itself. Brands are constantly challenged to create campaigns that resonate with fans, athletes, and the broader culture. Few companies have mastered this art like Nike, whose iconic "just do it" mantra wants to find excellence and innovation in sports marketing.
We do all this marketing, right, for all the Nike athletes, but the one Nike athlete who just happens to be the most marketable, who just happens to be...
However, even giants can stumble. Recently, Nike found itself at the center of a controversy when its treatment of rising basketball superstar Caitlin Clark sent shockwaves through social media and among industry experts. This article, brought to you by our sport Pulse, dives deep into the timeline, fallout, and strategic missteps that transformed what should have been a celebration of women's basketball into a cautionary tale for modern marketing. Nike's legacy in sports marketing is built on a series of iconic campaigns that have not only propelled athletes to superstardom, but also redefined entire sports cultures. Over the decades, the brand has consistently identified and elevated talent, from the transformative partnership with Michael Jordan that birthed the Air Jordan phenomenon to empowering generations of athletes with its innovative advertisements. It was this storied past that made Nike's recent campaign featuring Caitlin Clark so eagerly anticipated. The brand had seemingly discovered the next big name in women's basketball, a player whose dynamic talent, charisma, and marketability promised to carry forward the legacy of empowerment and excellence. Caitlin Clark emerged as the embodiment of modern women's sports, an electrifying talent poised to revolutionize the game.
Be the most recognizable, who just happens to be the face of women's sports, period. Not the face of the WNBA, she's that too. The face of women's sports.
As a high-flying playmaker whose jersey sales shattered records and whose name was being whispered as the next face of women's basketball, Clark was not just another athlete. She was a cultural phenomenon in the making. Fans across all platforms, from hardcore basketball enthusiasts to casual observers, were primed to witness history in the making. Nike's decision to center their Super Bowl commercial around her seemed like a natural extension of their tradition of innovation. Yet despite the initial promise, what followed would become one of the most perplexing and talked about misfires in recent memory. When the first Nike commercial aired during the Super Bowl, it carried all the hallmarks of brilliance. In a dazzling display of athletic prowess and futuristic visuals, Caitlin Clark was introduced to the world as more than just a talented player. She was presented as the future of women's basketball and the new face of a movement. The ad was meticulously crafted. Every frame was designed to capture her intensity, every line of dialogue intended to cement her status as a once-in-a-generation athlete. Social media buzzed with excitement as fans shared clips and praised the ad's energy, with even mainstream figures like Kelsey lending their voices to the chorus of acclaim.
You know what I'm selling? I'm selling greatness! A'ja Wilson, 3-time MVP. We got Jordan Childs, we got Juju Watkins, we got Sha'Carri Richardson, we got Breanna.
The commercial wasn't simply a promotional tool, it was a statement. It suggested that Clark was destined to join the pantheon of sports legends, and that Nike was ready to back her every step. The excitement was palpable, and for a brief moment it appeared that Nike had struck marketing gold once again. However, this initial burst of adoration would soon be overshadowed by an unexpected and dramatic reversal. The very next day, the narrative took a dramatic turn. In what can only be described as an unprecedented misstep, Nike released a follow-up commercial that conspicuously omitted any reference to Caitlin Clark. In a scene that felt both surreal and disheartening, the new ad treated Clark as if she were never part of the conversation. For a brand that had built its image on spotlighting its athletes, the absence of the player who had been the center of the Super Bowl spotlight was nothing short of a marketing paradox.
Sabalenka,
champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina, I know you want to cheat. Thinking about it? You're thinking about it. They're gonna go.
The follow-up ad featured a cavalcade of other Nike athletes' names like A'ja Wilson, Jordan Charles, Juju Watkins, and Sha'Carri Richardson were prominently displayed, each lauded for their achievements. Yet despite the fanfare surrounding these figures, the glaring omission of Caitlin Clark sent shockwaves throughout the sports community. Fans who had just witnessed Clark being hailed as the future of women's basketball were left wondering, why was she suddenly relegated to the background? Had Nike somehow decided that she was less important than her peers? Or worse, did she somehow violate an unspoken rule of corporate policy?
Fast! Kind of like Sha'Carri. I accept card. Where's the card? Come on.
Oh wait, but what's in that box?
These don't come out till March. They make
What followed was a digital firestorm. The sports community, always quick to mobilize in the face of perceived injustice, turned to social media to voice their outrage. Twitter threads exploded with vitriolic commentary. Instagram stories circulated with side-by-side comparisons of the original and the revised ads. And TikTok creators made videos dissecting every awkward pause and misaligned lip sync. The online discourse wasn't limited to casual fans. Marketing professionals, PR experts, and sports analysts joined the fray, expressing their dismay over Nike's mishandling of the situation. One widely circulated tweet read, "You make a hype ad for our next superstar and then delete her like she was never part of the plan. Nike, what are you doing?"
may or may not be shirts, but if I tell you, I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, you want one of these? Nike.com. Who wants a t-shirt?
Another post joked that the misstep was reminiscent of a well-known beverage brand's disastrous campaign, one that had once nearly tanked an entire company's reputation. The sentiment was clear. For many, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player. She was the embodiment of the future of women's sports, and to treat her as an afterthought was an insult to every fan who had believed in her potential. Industry experts were equally scathing. PR consultants, whose careers depend on managing brand crises, condemned Nike's approach as one of the worst responses in recent history.
She had one Nike commercial, and then the other one, they went out of her way not to talk about her. They did. They went out of their way to not talk about Kate.
They pointed out that a company with Nike's resources and legacy should have been capable of owning up to its mistake, issuing a genuine apology, and reaffirming its commitment to all its athletes, especially rising stars like Clark. Instead, the brand's reaction came off as a desperate, poorly executed attempt to cover up what many saw as a fundamental disrespect toward one of the most promising talents in women's basketball. The implications of Nike's misstep extend far beyond a single commercial. In an era where brand authenticity and social responsibility are paramount, the way a company treats its athletes can have lasting repercussions. For a global powerhouse like Nike, whose reputation is built on the celebration of individual excellence and the empowerment of underrepresented groups.
Nike. Oh my God. Nike.
The backlash over the Caitlin Clark incident threatens to erode decades of goodwill. The episode serves as a stark reminder that in today's interconnected world, brands are held accountable not just for the quality of their products, but for the values they represent. When a company like Nike, which once stood as a beacon of innovation and inclusivity, appears to sideline a trailblazing athlete, it sends a powerful message. It suggests that even the most promising talent can be discarded if it does not fit neatly into a predetermined marketing strategy. In this case, the oversight was not just a misprint or a minor error. It was a glaring symbol of a broader issue, one that many fans believe reflects a lingering undervaluation of women's sports. Critics argue that by neglecting to honor Caitlin Clark's role in their initial ad and then botching the follow-up fix, Nike inadvertently reaffirmed the notion that women's sports are an afterthought in a market driven by revenue and image. Competitors in the industry, brands like Adidas, Under Armour, and Puma, were quick to seize on the opportunity, positioning themselves as champions of athlete empowerment and promising to treat rising stars with the respect and recognition they deserve.
Folks, sometimes it's just unbelievable. I don't even know. I'm speechless.
For these companies, the controversy wasn't just a passing moment. It was a signal that the market was ready for a shift, a call for brands to truly understand the cultural significance of emerging talent rather than relying on tired marketing formulas. In the world of corporate communications, missteps happen. What separates a minor hiccup from a full-blown PR catastrophe is the response. Nike's handling of the Caitlin Clark situation provides a textbook example of how not to manage a crisis. Rather than confronting the mistake head-on with humility and transparency, the company opted for a hasty, poorly executed fix. The resulting director's cut was not only laughably awkward, but also emblematic of a deeper disconnect between Nike's leadership and the expectations of today's socially aware and digitally connected audience. When a crisis hits, the ideal strategy is to acknowledge the error, apologize sincerely, and outline clear steps to make amends. In Nike's case, however, the attempt to retroactively patch the ad with a rushed voiceover came off as both insincere and unprofessional. The voiceover, which tried to force the line, "Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clark, I know you want a tee, okay Nike," calm into the fabric of the narrative, did little to hide the fact that the original oversight had been monumental.